James Harden continued bringing the hurt. The Beard recorded his 15th straight game with at least 30 points, the second longest streak since the NBA-ABA merger. Plus, Luka loves crunch time, and it loved him back in Minnesota. See how the rookie took over late against the Wolves. It's all part of Game Time, presented by State Farm. Glad to have you with us. Here from our Atlanta studio, I'm Matt Weiner, Sekou Smith, David Griffin right over there. Plenty of stars ahead, and we also look ahead at Saturday's Thunder Spurs rematch coming up. Feels like they're still playing the last time around, but they will get to it again. Let's start with the champs, the Bulls at Oakland to meet the Warriors. You probably remember the first meeting when Klay Thompson set a new NBA record with 14 made threes. The Dubs put up 149 in that win. All that in the back of the Bulls' minds as they arrived in Oakland. Of course, Zach LaVine, Lauri Markkanen weren't available for that game. That could make a huge difference, right?
Well, or theoretically.
Or not.
Klay can hit them without the headband, apparently, as well.
Well, Klay hit their first 9 points on threes, and it was 9-2 before folks had gotten warm in their seats. This is just over a minute.
I mean, that was 28, 30 feet, no dribble.
Flashbacks indeed for the Bulls, watching Klay crank up like this earlier. I'm sure they were worried.
Warriors were up by 20 about 7 minutes into the game, and then Jonas Jerebko closes out the first with that, and it's 43-17 as they head to the second quarter. Thompson, step back. Yep.
Not as efficient. That took 2 dribbles.
It's gotten into him. Steph enjoys it.
Half his nightly total, isn't he?
Steph had a lot to enjoy on this night. Kevin Durant pulls up from the mid-range. Oh, yeah, him. Also still good. Golden State up 21 at the half. Curry, corner 3 in transition, and it's a big one. Passes Jason Terry for third all-time on the career made threes list. He would finish with 28 on the night. Curry to Durant at the top of the key for 3. He had 22 to go with 4 rebounds and 5 assists. Thompson for 3.
If you're the Bulls, you're just picking your poison. Which one of these sharpshooters do you want to leave open or watch pass to another one to make a shot and demoralize you?
And as long as they want to keep moving the ball and passing to one another, you're not going to guard these guys.
So the Warriors put up 295 points in sweeping the 2-game series from Chicago. They've won 5 of 6 overall. Over the 2 games, Klay Thompson knocked down 21 of 35 from three-point range. Bulls are happy not to see him or Steph Curry moving forward. Steph, number 3 now on the all-time threes list. He spoke about it with Kareth Burke.
You're holding that game ball because you're now 3rd on the NBA's all-time 3 list. Ahead of you is Ray Allen, Reggie Miller, guys that you said you appreciate. What's it like being in this company as one of the all-time greats?
I mean, they set the standard. Their careers are unmatched in terms of stretching the imagination of three-point line and doing it consistently and having the longevity. So it's special to be right behind those guys. Obviously, I want to continue that chase and putting together a long career, but growing up, watching the game, I always looked at those 2 guys as the guys that set the standard, so to be right next to them is pretty special.
And you reached this mark in just 10 seasons in the league. If you keep going at this pace, you'll have the record and more. What would that mean to you?
I'll let you know when it happens.
Well, of course, that could be sooner rather than later. There are the raw numbers now. Curry with 2,285. Look at the game totals and where he's at on that all-time list. Roughly half the total of Reggie Miller and Ray Allen on average.
Yeah, and Steph talks about growing up looking at those 2 guys at the top of that, list as kind of those all-time great three-point shooters that everybody else points to. Well, he is halfway there in terms of games played, basically. He's already there in the minds of everybody. I mean, how many people tell you now that Steph Curry is the greatest shooter they've ever seen in this league? And you look at the variety of ways that he can get shots off where on the floor. Most guys have one sweet spot or a couple of different spots. Like Steph's, his range is everywhere. And I think to see a guy master the craft the way he has and do it at this highest level, at a championship level, makes it really special. But then you think about just what kind of impact he and Klay as shooters have on this Warriors team. Last 5 games, they're averaging 132.2 points. I mean, getting back to that swashbuckling fast-paced, minded Warriors team. I know we've always talked about their defense, but this is what they do better than anybody else. It's unleash these shooters and let them go to work on people.
Well, this was their identity. They've changed the league, really. Steph Curry has single-handedly changed what is considered a good shot in the NBA. They've changed the way the league plays, and Thompson's just as much a part of it, which the Bulls will reluctantly but will readily tell you he's a problem as well.
So Del Curry shot 40.2% from three, making 1,245 threes. And he's not even the record holder in his own household. Klay Thompson grows up watching Michael Thompson play. Klay is the leader in his household from a three-point shooting standpoint. What makes these guys so special, look at Steph here. Get it to Klay, I've got a screen. You're talking about Steph Curry, one of the greatest shooters in the history of our league, probably the best three-point shooter in the history of our league, and he's setting a screen on the play and can't wait to do it. Here we've got the handoff to Klay. Again, no dribble, splash. In this one, they actually get a little piece of him on the screen, but he shows off and takes two full dribbles. Another illegal screen that is allowed, and the defender has to chase him. It's actually a good contest, but Klay's 6'7". He's going to shoot over the top of a good contest, even when there isn't an illegal screen to bump them off. And this is something that I think you talked about Steph Curry changing the way we look at what a good shot is and isn't. That Warriors offense has also changed the way that a lot of teams play with the guard splits and the different things they do with those guys. Everybody's looking to have two elite shooters and bigs that can set screens and actually make contact on a screen. It's a very rare gift, and it's something that's not talked about enough with the three-point shooting they have. They actually execute screen setting better than every other team in the league.
Speaking of bigs, in addition to those weapons, and Kevin Durant, who had a 20-point game for the 29th time in his last 30 games, in a week or so, DeMarcus Cousins is going to be rolled out by the Golden State Warriors as yet another offensive weapon. All right, the Lakers brought their two-game win streak to Salt Lake City on Friday night. Kyle Kuzma had 41 against the Pistons on Wednesday. A lot of responsibility on Donovan Mitchell these days with all those point guards sitting out, and he's ready for it. Knocks down the three. Here comes Brandon Ingram. Oh!
I love seeing him attack the rim if I'm a Laker fan. You really want to see Brandon start to find himself a little bit while LeBron and Rondo are out.
Sexiest two of his 15 on the night. Here's Mitchell. Funky Euro drive, and then brings the funk against JaVale McGee.
This is the Donovan Mitchell we saw at this time last year. Really take off, attacking, from both outside and then attacking the rim and finishing over bigger guys.
That's big game hunting. That's what that is. On McGee, and a 16-point lead by Utah. Lakers on the run, as they're wont to do, but that's turned away by Mitchell. And on the other end, Rudy Gobert. Somebody translate cherry picking into French for me. Gobert had 12 and 18 rebounds. Third quarter, it's Mitchell. Knocks down the three. And a step-back three here. He's 20 of 39 from the great beyond over his last 6 games in January, averaging just under 26 points per game. With the win, Utah is just a game back of the Lakers for the 8th spot in the West.
Yeah, this is where it gets really dangerous, in this stretch before All-Star and certainly after the stretch run after All-Star weekend. The West is so compact in the standings. You have no games to give away. You got to get everyone you can get. You got to be careful right now if you're the Lakers and a lot of these other teams.
Lakers 3-6 now since LeBron went down with a groin injury. You'll see them on Sunday against his old club, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Coverage starts at 9 p.m. Eastern time right here on NBA TV. That's Sunday. This is now on Game Time. Coming up, Smitty takes you through the best of the week under the rim. Plus, the Raptors exacted some revenge on Brooklyn Friday night. That and much more on the way.
To move forward as long as everything's feeling good. So we're not. Our thoughts right now are on the Utah Jazz and really how we're going to try to win this game tonight. And we have all the confidence that LeBron and Mike, who's back with him, and the rest of the trainers he's working with right now are getting him healthy.
Hello again, basketball fans. Welcome to Game Time Live, presented by State Farm. Rick Campbell with champions, Steve Smith and Brendan Haywood. We're here on a 9-game Friday, and we just heard from Lakers coach Luke Walton about LeBron James, who's missed the past 8 games with a strained left groin. He is going to miss, as we have heard, at least the next 3 games. So, guys, let's take a look at the Lakers' next 7 games. So we know he's not playing tonight. He's not playing Sunday against the Cavs. He's not playing Tuesday against the Bulls. He might be able to return Thursday at OKC on TNT. How many wins do you see here, Smitty and B. Wood?
You know, you talking about those first 3 games, or are you talking about this 7-game
whole
run
thing.
right here? I see right now, if he's not back, I mean, that's a tough stretch when you start talking about at Thunder, at Rockets, and Warriors. So if without LeBron James, out of the 7, I see them winning 3.
I see it like a spades hand. I see 3 in the possible. There's a possibility tonight against the Utah Jazz, and then you see teams like the Cavs on there, the Bulls, and the Timberwolves. So I see 3 in the possible.
I got 3.
So, LeBron James, as we say, he may be able to come back next Thursday. There's no promises on that. And as Luke Walton said, he's working with his team to try to get back. This injury obviously dates back to Christmas. So, B. Wood, I'll start with you. How long can the Lakers afford to be without LeBron James and still realize their goals of making the playoffs?
Well, I think it comes down to, first of all, how good this team continues to play and which Lakers team we see. Are they going to be the team that, didn't perform well? They're going to be the team that gets these W's. But at the end of the day, I think by the time, if he's back by the time they play Minnesota or sometime before that, I think they'll be just fine. And if they can find a way to hover around 500 in those games, because right now they're 23-19, they're sitting in the 8th place. If they can hover around 500 as far as those wins in those next couple of games, they'll be fine. But the problem is if they snowball and they lose a bunch of games in a row, you know how it is in the West. It's not like the East. In the West, if you lose 3 or 4 games in a row, you can go from 8th to 13th really, really quickly.
Yeah, and I look at it, B. Wood said it best. The one thing is I think they have to fight against is, and I know LeBron James won't rush back, but do you want 100%, not 100%, a healthy LeBron James coming back, whether that's 10 games from now, 15 games from now, or if you bring him back too early? So they're going to have to wait, and I know LeBron will wait. B. Wood said it best. They got to hover around 500, especially in these next 7 games. In 10 games, they got to go right at least 500, because in the Western Conference, you lose 5 games. But if you lose 7 or 8, you could be sitting around 13th, 14th in the West.
Check out this intrigue tonight in Utah. The Jazz come in 9th place. The Lakers are in 8th place, separated by 2 games. But let's talk LeBron and DMPs and possible MVP. Of course, last year played all 82 games. This year he has missed 8. He's going to miss at least 3 more. That puts it at 11. Here are the fewest games played by an NBA MVP. Walton, back in 77-78, played 58. Iverson, 71. Harden last year, 72. And Nash in 04-05 played 75. Just don't ask Shaq about that. So how many games, Smitty, can LeBron miss and still win MVP?
Bill Walton played only 58, right? So I'm looking at it. Bill Walton played 58. I think for LeBron, reasonably, I think he can't miss more than 15 games. But the numbers he's put up, if he can come back and he's only missed 15 games, and they can shoot up to around 3rd place in the West, and he put up tremendous numbers, he has a chance. But there's some other guys, no matter what, and all the other guys we talked about MVP. But I think 15 is the number for me, B. Wood.
Yeah, I think I'm right in there with you. Somewhere between 15, they might give him 20 just because he's LeBron, if he's doing something spectacular. Like if he were to get the Lakers, let's say, to the 3rd seed or the 2nd seed, something that we did not foresee at the beginning of the season, and he missed 20 games, I think he'd have a really strong shot at it. But I'm with you. I think it's that number's closer to 15. But more importantly, the Lakers have to win basketball. They can't be the 8th seed or the 7th seed. They have to be somewhere within the top 4 to even have a chance, because there's a lot of really deserving candidates when you start talking about Kawhi and Giannis and Harden. There's some big names, Paul George.
Jokic.
The Joker's in there. I don't think he really has a true shot to get it, but I think he's up there.
Oh, I'm with
Do you
B.
think
Wood.
he has a true shot to get it?
He's playing extremely well. And let's not say we're not saying he's not playing well, but I think when you just start to come down to being realistic, unless he can go on a tremendous run, I think he's played extremely well. They have to stay in 1st or 2nd for him to get it. But when you start looking at those big names, it's going to be Harden, Giannis, Kawhi, all those guys. I don't think he has a shot.
when you say that Jokic probably can't get it, it's not disrespecting him. He is doing phenomenal things. 18 and 10, 7 assists, helping lead this team, even though they've been through a lot of injuries. The thing is, there's a lot of other guys on really good teams that have these incredible numbers. When you talk about Giannis, Giannis is 27 and 13, and they're the best record in the NBA. And then you have what Kawhi Leonard is doing from a two-way standpoint and still getting you 26 points per game. And Toronto's playing well. So the Joker's in the mix somewhere, probably top 7 to 8.
7, 8, yeah.
But when you talk about actually winning the award, it's going to be hard, like unless he goes on a run, like Smitty said, because he's going to have to get his numbers into that category. MVP isn't just about wins. It's normally about the best combination of next level stats combined with the wins, and that's how you get your MVP.
I totally agree with that outlook on MVP. And the Sixers come into tonight.